the incident. A department investigation found enough evidence to warrant complaints against the two firefighters, as well as two officers and an assistant chief. The commission listened to the complaints today, then set a hearing date of September 10th. The Black Firefighters Union contends this incident is just one of many in a department rife with racism.
They had a hearing before the same commission a few years ago, and one of the black firefighters charged an officer with calling him a nigger, and even though it was two other witnesses, this commission found that it didn't have enough evidence to do anything.
Integrating the department has been a slow process. In 1974, there were only 4 black firefighters out of a force of 1,500. Even today, there are only 79. There are few black officers, only 1 captain and 3 lieutenants. Despite this, the department claims it's aggressively recruiting blacks and that racial incidents are rare.
There have been incidents, very rare, of altercations, and not necessarily fistfights, but differences. But they weren't racial, they're people problems, and they've occurred for 150 years, I'm sure, in any job they do.
Regardless of what the Fire Commission decides, the City Civil Service Commission is holding its own independent investigation.
I think that there's no dispute that there was a racial slur used and that there was an altercation. Whether or not it was a racially oriented altercation, we still haven't determined.
Whatever the investigations find, the Black Firefighters Union says it's not optimistic conditions will change. But a former fire chief who was involved in recruiting blacks believes familiarity will breed respect.
The longer that we have minority firefighters in the department, the better it's going to be for the city of San Francisco and for the San Francisco Fire Department and for all firefighters.
For now, though, black firefighters claim they're fighting an uphill battle. In San Francisco, Lisa Stark, Channel 7 News.
In addition to this incident, black firefighters have filed a general discrimination suit against the department. That hearing, October, is the scheduled hearing. One of the more controversial issues on the November ballot in California is Prop 63, which, if passed, would amend the state constitution to make English the state's official language. Today, formal opposition to Prop 63 was announced by a coalition of groups and individuals who say the measure is un-American. Opponents also mentioned the possible impact of the proposition outside the state.
Opponents have their way. What's going to happen in California does have national significance because the English-only people have targeted this state as their launching point. If they win this initiative, you can be assured that they will continue their campaigns as they've already started in Florida and Texas and New York and other states.
The naming of an official language for a nation that is multilingual has been found necessary in many nations around the world. Philippines, Indonesia, and India, and many other countries. And the places where you have relative tranquility is where you have one language. And everybody understands that that's the one language.
Former U.S. Senator S.I. Hayakawa, who is also, of course, one of the world-renowned semantics experts, has been in favor of English as this country's official language for some time, and he helped inspire Proposition 63. The urgent need for a solution to California's insurance crisis has prompted a probe of the causes and a call for possible reforms. The first of 7 public hearings on the issue was held in San Francisco today with testimony from the insurance industry and from consumer groups. And although everyone agreed that there is a liability insurance crisis in the state, there was disagreement on the reason behind that crisis.
The real source of the problem is our tort liability system. People are filing more lawsuits. The losses are increasing exponentially every year. And until we get a handle on how to stop those enormous losses, insurance rates are going to have to remain high.
The insurance industry made a lot of bad business decisions. They want to profit by banging our courts and by holding up the amounts of money that are due to us. Nobody's gone to an insurance company to get their claims paid and never been satisfied the first time around. You know the insurance companies are out to get everything they can from you.
Some of the people speaking today claim that the only way to solve the crisis is to regulate the insurance industry, similar to the way the utility companies are regulated. More hearings scheduled tomorrow and Friday at the State Building in San Francisco.
Tax-cutting crusader Howard Jarvis died last night in Los Angeles, finally losing his 4-year battle with a rare blood disease. He was 82 years old. Tonight, Channel 7's Jim Vargas has the story on the man whose name will always be remembered with Proposition 13.
For 25 years, Howard Jarvis led a tax-cutting revolt, but it wasn't until 1978 that his name became a household word in California and the rest of the nation.
Tonight, we know how our forefathers felt as they hurled crates of English tea into the Boston harbor.
Proposition 13, which cut property taxes by up to 2/3 for some people, became a model for tax rebellions in other states. The California Taxpayers Association estimates that in the 8 years since its passage, the initiative has cut $100 billion from California state and local government spending. Today, some local government services, such as libraries, streets, and roads, have still not recovered from the tax-cutting acts. But Jarvis and Proposition 13 co-author Paul GANN have maintained that if people were hurt, it was because of recalcitrant or inept politicians.
People say, well, Howard Jarvis will be will be remembered for Proposition 13, and no question in my mind but what he will be. But on the other hand, he will also be remembered as being involved in going to the people and winning and proving to the people themselves that they aren't helpless.
Jarvis delighted in his image as a crusty crusader willing to take on the big politicians on behalf of the little guy.
Jerry Brown, as a politician, is a dead dodo.
But the crusader image was tarnished a bit in 1984 when, sponsoring an initiative to close alleged Proposition 13 loopholes, he resorted to mailing out pleas for campaign contributions which look strikingly similar to a tax bill.
I think it's dirty politics.
They can put us some fort and get an injunction to stop it. I invite them to do it, but you'll find they haven't got the guts to do it.
He more than once said all politicians were liars, so it's not surprising that not everyone will miss him.
What did you think of him?
He was a fellow human being. Obviously had some impact on the state of California. You think it overall?
Mostly negative.
There is no doubt that Howard Jarvis has left a lasting impact on life in California. He relished controversy in life, and that impact may be debated for years after his death. In Sacramento, Jim Vargas, Channel 7 News.
You know, regardless of what people thought about his politics, one thing everyone agreed about was that he was a man who spoke his mind.
Yeah.
And directly.
In fact, going through the tapes last night to try to pull out things that he had done and said, it was amazing. I mean, virtually everything that he said was said in such a way that television people would rejoice because he said it precisely in the way that he wanted to say it, and you had to use it. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, we'll have the tomorrow forecast coming up next. Either Pete Giddings or an advertisement for brawny paper towels.